Welcome, everyone, to episode 40 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. Did the four of you miss us? Because we are back. Had a little bit of a vacation. Now it's time to get back in the swing of things. We've missed a lot, so we're not going to touch on some of the things that went on while we were gone, but we are going to pick up with last week's episode of SmackDown, which started off with Nia Jax making her way to the ring, being flanked by some gentlemen who it didn't even look like they were trying to carry her. I'm pretty sure she was rolling down the ring on some sort of apparatus.
Oh, yeah, no, that was definitely some sort of cart or
little
disrespectful.
Little disrespectful. Yeah. I know she's a bigger woman, but come on. You couldn't tell me that there was not any big guys back there at the Performance Center that four of them could have wheeled her out there and made it look effortless. You got to be kidding me.
Oh,
they could have made it work.
Oh, they 100% could have done that, but I think it was kind of a combination of like the old school, like the muscle carrying the queen around / Pope car. So a little modern twist to it.
I guess, but you know, she made it to the ring and was joined by Tiffany Stratton, and we finally are starting to see real kinks in the armor for this duo, because Nia Jax said that she wanted Tiffany Stratton to kneel to her. Tiffany did a very good job of diverting Jax's attention to a perfectly done routine by Pretty Deadly. And then Mia Yim came out and just brought her, what was it, kendo, or a Singaporean cane, and started and started wreaking havoc on the champion. I'm surprised they're doing this quickly, but you know,
I am too.
It had to happen eventually. This pairing doesn't make much sense other than the fact that they are, I think, real life friends. But
yes, based on social media, I would say so. Yeah,
but Nia's real life friends, I think, with most people. I think she's, despite her character, is for the most part well liked from what I can see from TikToks and Instagram posts. So they're doing it quickly. These two don't need each other, and it sets up the next feud with Nia Jax, and it allows, I think they might want to be getting rid of the briefcase sooner than anticipated. I think that might be why they might be doing this, to send Tiffany Stratton to the moon, or will there be a false cash-in at some point in time?
I'm surprised it's this quick. I'm sticking to my pick that it's going to be Tiffy versus Charlotte at Mania. That is happening for the title. And
that's if we ever get Charlotte again.
Oh, she's coming back. I think they're doing this very smart. They don't need to rush into that. That should be her first feud back, period. Just high profile, whether it be a return at the Rumble or the SmackDown after the Rumble to get her into the Elimination Chamber and her win the Elimination Chamber. One of those two should happen.
Have Charlotte win the Elimination Chamber?
Yes. If they don't have her, if they don't have her enter the Rumble.
What do you think are the fans' views on Charlotte now? Because we know what their views were when she was around all the time. They thought she won too much. I'm concerned that does absence make the heart go fonder, or are they just going to be pissed off that she comes back and wins the chamber?
Look at Roman Reigns.
No, not the same.
Roman Reigns. Well, no. In terms of like all the rumblings of, okay, you know, he keeps winning this way, he keeps winning that way, and this and that. And granted, I know
they turned him heel.
I know I know he was a beloved heel. I get it, but then the longer and longer he was gone, I'm just kind of comparing it to that. Somebody, when you're that good and you're away for a while, they want to see you come back. I mean,
how many We Want Charlotte chants have you had?
None.
Have you heard? None.
And how many? I don't think.
How many We Want Roman chants did you hear?
No. And I get all that, but and again, I wasn't really watching at this time, but there's no indication that there were a bunch of "We Want Cena" chants when he was out with his torn pec and got the roof blown off the joint when he showed up and won the Rumble. And came
Wasn't
back
it
early.
Shortly thereafter that they began to boo him again? They were happy to see him at first, and then They went right back to because he was winning, so they started booing him again. So my concern is that Charlotte's going to get a pop when she comes back. I'm not concerned about that. But the question is, how long does that pop last? And if she wins the Elimination Chamber, is that going to turn the fans off who thought that she won too much when she was there all the time?
I can admit my mistakes. Maybe comparing her to Roman was a bit much, but
I like Charlotte a lot.
I do too.
She's one of my favorites. I think
do
that she
too,
gets some.
And I know it was a different era of booking, but I didn't like the constant dropping the belt, getting it back, dropping it, because in a very short time, all things considered, in a short amount of time in terms of years, she has accumulated that many title reigns. And that I can see the fatigue. And she's great, but then they run into the problem. Tiffy is super, super popular. Do you have Tiffy win at Mania and have Charlotte drop a second straight? I know she wasn't in this last one, but have her drop a second straight Mania match? Or I think
Charlotte doesn't need to win at Mania.
I 1000% agree with you, but I hope now that the regime has changed at the very top. But granted, that's one of Triple H's prized NXT wrestlers. I know he's very proud of that group that was around NXT at the time and came up. I hope they let Tiffy win. I don't. If Nia loses via cash-in, hey, so be it. They've presented her very well to this point, very dominant. But, even the most dominant can fall to a cash-in. I have no issues with a quick title reign for that. But once Stratton gets it, I wouldn't mind her having the belt for a year.
Year?
Yes.
She doesn't have the personality to have it for a year.
She does where it counts in my heart. So,
and what I mean by that is that she's too playful. She's not the type of heel who can have it for a year. She's not a serious heel. She's a jokester heel. Maybe a year's a long time.
I know. I kind of like the long title reigns.
Yeah, then you must love Triple H because that's his thing.
I hope Gunther never loses the title. I'd be happy. Ever.
He's going to lose it at some point in time, probably to Kaiser. That's who he's going to lose it to.
I can't wait till we get to that because that whole thing. Yeah, I'm not going to start because I'm not going to be able to stop.
We're talking about Charlotte, and let's segue into Charlotte's husband, who went on to the next match, Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. And we're not going to be talking about every match from the SmackDown, but we are going to be talking about the ones that caught our eye. And I thought this was a phenomenal match between these two.
They've all been great.
Yeah. Andrade and Carmelo are just putting on a banger after banger after banger. And their chemistry is real. It's next level chemistry. And although I know that Carmelo Hayes is going nowhere in this company, and I've said that for months, I cannot deny the fact that he's a talented wrestler. But there's a lot of talented wrestlers who don't go anywhere in this company, like a Cedric Alexander or guys like that. They just have a ceiling. And I'm of the mindset that Carmelo Hayes has a ceiling. You are the mindset that he does not. But we will see. As of right now, he's gone nowhere with his number one pick in the draft. He gets matches, but he doesn't really have anything going for him right now. So we'll see if that changes. But this was a great match. Yeah, I know that you think that. I know that you like being wrong, which is fine. But
Payne's an old friend.
Yeah, this was an excellent match that warranted this is awesome chance that it got from the crowd. So we would be remiss if we did not at least touch on this match and what these two are capable of. But all kidding aside, where do you think these two can go? Where do you think is Andrade's ceiling, and what do you think Carmelo Hayes' ceiling is? And when I say what is their ceiling, I'm asking you from a title perspective. What is their title ceiling? Do you honestly believe that Carmelo Hayes can win either of the main titles?
Yes. And I
Okay.
think
You honestly think he will?
yeah, if
I don't want an if.
no, I'm getting to that. If they have him win Money in the Bank, I think his character, that cocky, arrogant, still being super cocky and arrogant, even after multiple losses, but still talking like he's been. I mean, guys like that are well suited for that briefcase. I
Do
did
you
not.
think that they are going to let him do it?
Yes. Yes. I like I said, I know I just have a hard time believing in this regime that there wasn't some sort of long-term plan in them having him be the number one pick. I still and until next Money in the Bank, I am not going to be able to say I don't still think that. I thought it was absurd that McIntyre won the briefcase just to lose it. I know what it was in terms of the storyline, but I feel like they still could have accomplished that without that briefcase, and it could have gone to somebody else.
So here on August 22nd, almost August 23rd, East Coast of 2024, are you telling me that your not too early prediction for the 2025 Money in the Bank winner is the same as your 2024 Money in the Bank winner, Carmelo Hayes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You heard it here first. We will clip this, and I will come back to this, and I will give you all the props when he wins. But when he inevitably loses, I will laugh at you,
but
make sure the whole world knows it.
But in the I think until that time, I think all signs are pointing towards him versus LA Knight for the U.S. title.
Okay. He's not beating LA Knight, but okay. All right. That feud was going somewhere prior to LA Knight winning the title. They had a lot of backstage confrontations. They had some confrontations in the ring, and I thought that they were going to build out on that. And they kind of took a step back. And I've seen the WWE do this a lot recently. They did it with the Street Profits disbanding, and then kind of just not having them disband. You remember when they were about to not be a group anymore? Then they just completely got rid of that. They did it with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, but I think they're coming back. But they're coming back to it now. But they left it.
Coming. Yeah,
but I think that they left it and they weren't going to do it, and then they brought it back. So it was there in the forefront. They got rid of it. Now it's coming back. They just tend to a lot of false starts out there in the WWE, which is fine. They change their mind. If they can make it organic, that's fine. But they just need to understand that we, as crazy WWE fans, we do not forget when they do something. And just because we don't care doesn't mean we don't notice. And I don't care they didn't break up the Street Profits, but I do remember that they tried. But let's move on to the next match. I'm just going to touch on it. We're not really going to talk too much about it. It was Naomi versus Blair Davenport. Davenport got the win. The match was fine, but wasn't really anything to write home about. So we're not going to talk too much about it. But what we will talk about is a backstage segment between Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga, where they talked about the Ula Fala, not to be mistaken for shillelagh, but all these different words that they're using on the show. I'm learning Ula Falas and shillelaghs. But anyways, Solo Sikoa made sure that Tama Tonga knew that if Roman gets the Ula Fala, he becomes the tribal chief, and they will have to acknowledge him. So they're just creating rules on the fly over here at the WWE that now the Ula Fala is really the end-all be-all, and whoever has it just automatically gets to be the tribal chief. This is dumb. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I understand it.
I didn't like it either. No,
but it's dumb.
I'll be honest with you. Okay, I was going to say, just based on...
I don't understand it.
Because if memory serves me, when they touched on this originally, when he started wearing it, it's something like you had to earn. You couldn't just take it. But, okay, but then again... apparently, that's what Solo did. He took it, and then by his interpretation, he's the tribal chief. So by his own logic, I guess that does make sense.
But what doesn't make sense is you have to remember, Solo's an idiot. So that's where we are with this. It was an interesting interaction. I think that the WWE right now is just making stuff up, and which is fine because that's what the business is. Everything's made up. I mean, that's why we have these writers. But they need to really think long and hard about the things they're doing because it's a little ridiculous. But like I said, we're not going to talk too much about that because we're going to move on to something else we're not going to talk that much about, which is Kevin Owens versus Grayson Waller, which all came about because Grayson Waller and Austin Theory were making fun of Kevin Owens backstage. Kevin Owens overheard it, so he demanded a match. And of course, Owens got the win against Grayson Waller. But now let's talk about the last match of SmackDown, not the last segment, but the last match. It was the Street Profits versus DIY. First thing I want to talk about is I hate DIY's gear. And I cannot stress that enough. The thing that Tommaso Ciampa comes out with the collar that's popped up looks absolutely ridiculous. And this is some stuff that needed to stay at NXT and should not be on the main roster. And the Street Profits gear is not far behind this. But this is a bad gear match, but that does not mean it was a bad match because I thought it was another phenomenal match. And I'm a big fan of the Street Profits. I'm a big fan of DIY. Street Profits are probably my favorite tag team, and it's not just because they're black. It's because they are very good. It's because they're a very good tag team. I'm glad they didn't break up. I don't know exactly what the purpose of is it BFAB? Is that who comes out with them? Who's that woman? I can't remember her name at this point. Yeah. We'll just say it's BFAB, even if it's not. She's pointless. She serves no purpose. She needs to go.
No, I like BFAB.
What does she do?
She's a good talker.
When was the last time? I don't remember hearing her talk recently.
I think they've had backstage on this episode.
I don't think that happened. Maybe I blacked out, but this was very good. Titus O'Neil was in the crowd. I honestly forgot that Titus O'Neil was a person, but he was in the crowd.
I didn't see him in the crowd.
Yeah, he was in the crowd. They panned to him, and he was doing his.
I guess I missed that. Okay.
I thought he was still under the ring in Saudi Arabia, but I guess he's not. He made it out. They also showed Trick Williams in the crowd too, because the one thing they have to do is when a black person's wrestling, show all the black people. I cannot say this enough. He needs to stop doing this. It's way too transparent. Stop lumping all black people together and all white people together. Let's get let's have some unity in the WWE because all they do is segregate. Everything's segregation in the WWE, and it's ridiculous.
Well, we'll get to one person who doesn't seem to be the case for when we discuss NXT. But yeah, that's right, because SmackDown was in Orlando, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So because
that's where he's from.
They showed the performance center.
He's in Florida.
The performance center's there. So that's why Trick was there, Roxanne Perez, All Ego.
Right, but why didn't they show Ego and Roxanne Perez in another match? Why, like in this match? Why are they showing Titus and why are they showing Trick Williams in this match when they showed Roxanne and All Ego in other matches before? That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. There's no reason other than. Oh, there's two black people here, and there's two black people in the ring. Let's show these two.
You're race baiting again.
I am, but at the same time, it's true. It is 100% true. And when we talk about Raw and we talk about the New Day and then Odyssey Jones just taking over for Big E, it just helps prove my point. Hey, he's big and black. Let's put him with these two.
That's a strong man.
Yeah, it is a strong man. That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is that they do this all the time, and it's just ridiculous. But that's not what this match is about. This match is about four wrestlers who went out there and they put on a show, and now the Street Profits are the number one contenders to lose to the Bloodline at some point.
I had a big issue with one part of this match. Probably one you would have issues too. Why are they having them kick out of that finisher that is the combination of Ciampa's and the super kick? That's inexcusable to me. Have them kick out of something else.
Yeah,
just have them kick out of something else. I don't have a problem with the result at all. But but when you do when it's was that Project Ciampa? Is that what they're calling it now?
Yes.
Because I swear in NXT that thing was called the Widow's Bell or the something along that.
But Project Ciampa goes better with DIY, which is do it yourself. When you talk about a Project Ciampa, which is like a DIY project, I think the name is a better name than what they called it. But yes, you are correct from what I remember.
Now I liked. Okay, I see, and going with the tag team thing, but because I remember specifically thinking back then when he was on a singles run next NXT. I was like, that's a cool name for a finisher. I like that. And
Yeah.
but yeah, that was my one gripe is they could have had him kick out of something else. They did the same thing in the NXT tag match last week too. I know we're not discussing that, but they did it in that match too when Chase U won. They the Frazier and Axiom, one of their finishers that had won numerous matches, they had Andre Chase kick out of. And I just they're especially guys when teams like that have so many cool looking moves that aren't finishers but can still get the crowd on the edge, like that. There's no need to devalue finishers, but we talk about that every single time. So
it's the name of the business. But how many finishes can you devalue in a 2-hour, 3-hour show? But
great match.
It is what it is.
Great match. This is my only gripe. Yeah. It was good.
It was a good match, and it set up, like I said, the match for Bash at Berlin, where it's going to be the Bloodline versus the Street Profits. And speaking of the Bloodline, we get to our last segment, which had Solo Sikoa make his way down to the ring and calling out Roman Reigns. We get a Roman Reigns sighting. I think that we're yet to hear Roman Reigns speak since he came back, which is perfectly fine. He doesn't need to talk. He has, as the kids are saying, his aura is through the roof. He comes to that ring. He was wearing a hoodie with his OTC. I think it might have been an OTC t-shirt over a hoodie. It might have been an OTC hoodie. I couldn't quite tell. But man, does he have a presence to him that you can't teach that, as Enzo Amore would say, and you can't teach that. You can't. He just comes out, and it's like he commands the entire arena. And I don't care who's out there with him. Solo doesn't come close to what Roman has. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, they are nowhere near what he has. There's no one in the business right now. And I'm not saying there's no one in WWE. I'm saying there's nobody in the business who can command an arena or a stadium like Roman Reigns right now. It just is what it is. All eyes are on him. But he wrecked house until he didn't, because they were putting a halt to the interaction between him and Jacob Fatu until this week, where Jacob Fatu came and gave Roman a proper beating. And Roman had some good, memeable faces while he was laying on the ground after getting his ass whipped.
Those
a
were
good
great.
way.
Whenever Jacob Fatu loses, it's the only acceptable place to me for that to happen is WrestleMania. He has been presented that well and is that good. I mean, just everything he does and just the facial expression. He is like one of the most believable heels in such a short. I mean, by full admission, I'm not familiar with his work outside of WWE. But from his first introduction, because some guys, they come in and they do these faces and stuff to try to look mean. Everything he does, it's like, man, that guy's nuts. He's legitimately nuts. And then, oh my God, how much better can it get, him coming out there in a damn walking boot and beating the crap out of him? I mean, that just flawlessly. That was awesome.
Phenomenal booking by WWE of him so far. He hasn't even had a match really yet. Well, he hasn't had a singles match yet. And he is the second most over superstar probably on that program. I'm putting him even ahead of Cody. I think that fans would probably rather see a Jacob Fatu match than a Cody match. Or at least I would. But yeah, like you say, his facials, when he got hurt at SummerSlam, that was crazy. It had everyone talking, is he actually hurt? He wasn't actually hurt. I thought he was actually hurt. I was like, oh, man, I can't believe Jacob Fatu is hurt, because he made me believe. And that's their job. Their job is to make me believe in an industry that I know is fake. And if I can believe, and us as fans can believe, then that means that we can immerse ourselves in the entire match, because that's how good they are.
Oh, yeah. And we've had that, and then Damian Priest at Clash of the Castle. When he got his leg caught, I thought he was really hurt. he sold that perfectly. But then, like,
A
later.
little bit of a difference.
Oh,
That was a botch.
well, no.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but he went with it. He improvised on the fly, and instead of just making it awkward and him just going around like it was normal, made things get questioned, and that's what a
Yeah.
good professional wrestler does. And it was,
Yeah.
but good stuff, man. And with that said, I think pretty soon they're going to run into a dilemma because I think they already have had in their minds what they wanted to do at WrestleMania in Vegas already. But they could, and maybe they thought this, but just the presentation of Jacob Fatu has been so spot on. They're going to have to choose very carefully who ends up overthrowing him at Mania.
Why does somebody have to overthrow him? Why can't we get Rock, Roman, Solo, Jacob?
You think Jacob Fatu's turning on Solo?
Maybe. I'm not saying I think he's going to. I'm just saying that he could.
And I'm curious, is it going to be Rock Roman? Is it going to be Rock Cody? Because at some point, Rock Cody is going to be revisited. That, whether you want it to be or not, it's going to be. And
does anybody want that at WrestleMania?
I don't. But, and again, man, he is just so popular still. I mean, whether good reaction, negative reaction, or people starting to tire of it, he's still selling merchandise like Cena and
kids love him.
Oh yeah, and then
but to adults,
I saw an article the other day. You may have seen it, like on Bleacher Report, that Cody started into Super Cena.
Yeah, Cody Raheem Cena Rhodes. Yeah, I mean he's he's a man who wears a lot of hats. But overall, episode of Raw was good. Always good to see Roman on television.
SmackDown, Josh, jeez.
Episode of SmackDown was good. Always great to see Roman on television. Waiting for Paul Heyman to come back. Can't wait for that to happen. Waiting for Jimmy to come back. There's so many more layers to this.
I almost forgot. How do we forget to discuss Nia's new crown? That was amazing.
Oh. Easily.
Was awesome. More like Games of Thrones poster-ish, and I loved it.
Yeah, and it was good. Yeah. It was good. Nia's doing great work. Proud of her.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like her, but I do. So,
me too.
Yeah. So buzz off, all you people who don't like her. And if any of our 4 fans don't like her, don't stop watching. All right. Next up is Monday Night Raw, which kicked off, and I know, Wade, I don't think that you have finished it yet, but I'm going to walk you through what happened. It started off with Randy Orton kicking off the show with going up against Gunther in a promo, which saw Ludwig Kaiser come out and interfere, and Gunther vowed to never take that surprise RKO again. Right before a confrontation they were about to have, Kaiser came out, which set up a match, set up the main event. Randy Orton's looking big. 290 on that frame that's a lot of weight. I don't believe he's actually 290. I think that's just WWE talk. But that's a lot of weight, man. I consider myself to be fat, and I'm 240, and I'm the same height, if not a smidge taller than Randy Orton. So it just I don't think he could possibly be 290. But he looks big. He looks like he's been eating right, like he says. I love Randy though. Mm-hmm. I mean, he still looks good. His body's still better than mine will ever be. But
not mine.
We will see what happens at Bash of Berlin. So Randy came out as the more injured party. He came out at the receiving end of a beatdown. We got one more week, though. Typically whoever comes out the receiving end on the week before the pay-per-view is the one who ends up winning.
I'm just wondering how they're going to do this because, and you kind of touched on this earlier, the inclusion of Kaiser, that makes it interesting because, at some point him and Gunther are inevitably going to split up and have a match or series of matches.
Yeah.
And
I think we got a while for that, though.
Right. But in terms of the match in Germany, do they do how they've kind of been booking Gunther since he's been on the main roster, like they'll have interactions like this, and then where Kaiser will interfere, but then when the actual match happens, it's hands off, and like Kaiser comes and does the introduction and then leaves.
Well, let me tell you a little bit of the insight on what happened in the main event. So, because I think that we need to touch on it now as opposed to waiting. They gave themselves a booking out. Randy Orton's knee is now badly injured based off of his match with Ludwig Kaiser. So he attacked the knee.
He did
and when he left,
they do the running thing on the steps.
Yeah.
He's such a good heel, man. He is good.
Yeah, he's very good. Very good. Him and his wife should have a heel, or girlfriend should have a heel tag team.
Yes. And
Tiffy and Ludwig.
I want to know who came up with his introduction for Gunther. Because if he came up with that, that's perfect.
They're childhood friends.
Demand your gratitude. That is awesome. And his delivery, dude, he's awesome.
I think he did it. They're childhood friends. They've been friends forever. I think that at the very least they came up with it in tandem. I don't think that's a WWE creation. I think it's a him creation. But we'll talk more about the main event later. But his knee was badly damaged. Next up, though, was Sheamus versus Pete Dunne.
I did see this.
Okay, well, this was phenomenal. This is a very good match.
Yes, it was.
And Pete Dunne is so good. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of issues with Pete Dunne. It's nothing in the ring. It's all presentation. None of it's his fault. I think his hair is stupid. I think his clothes are stupid. Not a big fan of some of the facial expressions he makes when he's not wrestling. I'm fine with the ones he makes when he is wrestling, but when he's not, he kind of looks stupid. But putting all that aside for a second, in the ring, he is top tier.
Yes.
He's top tier. His joint manipulation, I love that. Him, just bending people's fingers back. It's simple. It's stupid. I like it.
Yep, me too.
I just think that he's super talented, and we don't need to go down. Oh, Sheamus is talented. Everyone knows Sheamus is talented. Mm-hmm. Sheamus is one of the best hands. He's one of the best big man hands in the history of the company. He's a great big man wrestler. Great personality.
I'd say just wrestler. Period.
Yeah. But I mean, he's not a top 5 wrestler, but he might be a top 5 big man wrestler. But he's definitely, he's up there. I don't want to also pigeonhole him and saying he's just good because he's big. No, he's good because he's good. He just happens to be big. But this is a great match. They're working Pete Dunne, man. Yeah. They're working him like a dog.
They are. Yes, they are.
And good on Pete for doing it. But sometimes it's tough to watch him be on Raw and then be on NXT, and they just be completely different storylines and him being mad about 2 completely different things. It's a little confusing if you're watching all 3 shows.
Yes.
And there's not a lot of continuity to it, which makes it even more confusing. But hey, they did mention though that he's been on NXT during this episode, which I do appreciate that. But
they gave him a big win a few weeks ago against Trick, and that was clean too.
Yeah. Well, Trick's a bum. They did not give him a win against Sheamus.
No, they did not.
Sheamus got the win. They also, was it this match they talked about during the match? Maybe not. Pat McAfee's not. He's going to be leaving the company.
I read that.
But not just for a short period of time. It's college football season, folks. Week 0 is upon us, and he's got to do his other job. He's a man who has many jobs. Just call him Jamaican because he's got a bunch of jobs. And one of his jobs is College Game Day. So he will be doing that for a few months. He will be back. And I think that he'll be missed by a lot of the people in the WWE community. But yeah, I thought this was good. I like their chemistry.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And, this was fantastic. And yeah, at some point down the line, they that could have easily kicked off Bash in Berlin, easily, and I bet afterwards there's a few people backstage that are like, maybe we should have saved that one for a few weeks from now to kick off the show. So,
yeah,
which
it was good.
Kind of surprising they wouldn't, considering it's across the pond. So
yeah.
Oh, well. Great match nonetheless.
I think they're tapping that well a lot with the rest of the card. They don't need to have it from start to finish, all the Euros in there. But you never know. Next up was Maxine Dupree versus Ivy Nile. We're not really going to talk about this match, but what I will talk about is the Wyatt Six made an appearance to attack Ivy Nile. Yep.
Abby the Witch attacked Ivy Nile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay.
So Nikki Cross attacked Ivy Nile, and then the remainder of the Wyatt Six when Alpha Academy, what are they calling themselves now? American Made, when they came out to try to help Ivy Nile, Uncle Howdy came and gave his sister Abigail to American Made. I'm pretty sure it was Chad Gable.
Yeah.
But
I think you're right. Yeah. I think I did see this now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. So I just want to touch on that. Wyatt Six weren't on the show for long, but they were on the show. That's great. But
how's Maxine looking in the ring?
She looked better.
Okay.
She looked better. Still not good by any means, but you can see improvement. So the thing about Maxine is that she has done enough to boost her character.
Oh, yeah.
That I think that people overlook the fact that she's not good in the ring. So it's not like an Ava Marie situation where no one liked her and no one liked her character. So WWE fans, if they see that you're working hard and they see that you're putting in effort in other areas, they're not going to boo you or bash you. But when you have a situation like so many times where you hear that you can't wrestle, Chance, I don't think we're going to be getting that from Maxine anymore.
No,
or at least for now.
I don't either.
Yeah. Yeah, but next up was a promo from CM Punk. CM Punk came out to the ring and was soon joined by, he announced that he had a discussion with Adam Pearce and unilaterally decided, without talking to Drew McIntyre about it first, there was going to be a Caribbean strap match at the Bash at Berlin between him and Drew McIntyre. And he was wearing the strap around his neck, and he was proud to announce that match was going to happen. He did say as long as Drew McIntyre agrees to it, and then he came out, and of course he agreed to it. So now we're getting a strap match, which is always interesting match concept. We'll see how they make it work. I'm sure they will. I'm confident that they can book it properly, but we'll see. I guess they call it a leather strap match. I guess the Caribbean strap is for when Savio Vega's in the match.
I was going to say, did you just make that up? The Caribbean part.
You don't remember when they used to call it the Caribbean strap match when Savio Vega was having those matches with Stone Cold back in the day, and they called them Caribbean strap matches. So whenever I see the strap, it's equivalent to a Singaporean cane now for me. They are no longer kendo sticks and strap matches. They are Caribbean straps and Singaporean canes.
Isn't there a Texas strap match too?
There is that, yeah, but they're all the same. It's a strap match. Yeah. It's a strap match. But we will be getting that. It's going to be a Berlin strap match.
That's very interesting. Okay, so that is happening at Bash at Berlin and not Bad Blood.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of surprised when it was looking like the stipulation was going that way, but I mean, as long as they just wallop each other, I'm all for it. I just
can't wallop each other.
Because, dude, I remember when we went to a house show last year. The main event, I think, was Charlotte versus Bayley in a street fight. And when Charlotte was hitting Bayley with that Singapore cane, it was just like barely tapping Bayley. I mean, selling it great, but I mean, just I don't want to see any like this barely tapping stuff. Trying to protect.
That's not the way these guys roll. Yeah. These guys don't roll like that. They're gonna wallop each other.
I hope so. I am looking forward to it. I am.
And what I'm not looking forward to is talking about the next match, which was the New Day and Odyssey Jones versus the Final Testament. And I am not going to spend much time on this, but what I will tell you is that there was a point in the match where Kofi Kingston was going for the hot tag, and Xavier Woods had his hand out, and Odyssey Jones had his hand out, and Kofi tagged Odyssey Jones, and Xavier Woods looked upset and was mad. Even though they won the match, he was mad that he tagged Odyssey instead of him.
Good.
So further creating condescension between the new Big E and Kingston and Xavier Woods. So That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to race bait anymore. So
now was
what we got
this?
next?
Wait, was that? Let's see if I'm getting my weeks messed up. My youngest, she's been falling asleep watching bits of Raw every night, and I just haven't. I've seen bits and pieces. Was after the match when they had that backstage segment with Scarlett and
I don't recall that.
when he was all upset, he's like, "Yeah, I know where he lives. Maybe he can drive a car through his house." And she's like, "No, like AOP's got a win over him. You've got a win over Kofi. Like, just this is all
I
playing
thought that was
out."
last week. I don't think that was this one, but I
Okay.
watched a lot of wrestling in a short period of time. But I
Okay.
think that was last week. But yeah, like I said, we're not going to talk about this
No,
anymore because next up is The Miz versus Bronson Reed and their continued rehabilitation of the big man. Tsunami indeed. Bronson Reed, they're making him look like a hoss, and they're finally giving him a proper feud because Braun Strowman came out to help The Miz, who was getting his butt whipped, and that is setting up a feud between Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. So the question is, will they allow Bronson to get the win over Braun? I sure hope so.
Yes.
Because if they're not going to go anywhere with Braun, you might as well boost big Bronson Reed.
Yep.
But we'll see. We'll see. Bronson's looked impressive. I like what they're doing with them. I hope that they can continue this. I know they can't.
Well, no, because inevitably they're going to do something silly, and Seth Rollins is going to kick out of a tsunami.
Seth Rollins has gone for a while, though.
But when he comes back, he's going to seek revenge, and he's going to
He's never coming back.
He's going to kick it. Oh, stop.
His career's over.
Oh, okay.
We'll never see Rollins or Becky Lynch ever again. And, it stinks. It stinks. But it's true.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's damn true. But it's not really true.
Is. I think it's true. I honestly think that his issues now with his knee are to the level of where either A, he comes back and he has a very diminished schedule, or B, he just doesn't come back.
He's coming back. He's fighting Punk at Mania. We all know that.
He was gone for 4 months and then came back for a week, and then he's gone again.
He's fine. He'll be okay.
Okay.
We're getting the Punk Rollins match at Mania.
We'll see. You know what else we might get at Mania? Damian Priest versus Dominic Mysterio, but we got a taste here on Monday Night Raw, and Dominic Mysterio promised that it would be one-on-one. And before he could even make it to the ring, the Judgment Day came out and attacked Damian Priest. Didn't even make it to the ring. And then Ripley came out, and she was attacked by Liv Morgan. And when it was all said and done, we saw the heels in the ring holding Damian Priest's head as Rhea Ripley lay unconscious at Damian Priest's feet. So Finn Balor, Carlito, the other guy with the big head, whose name is escaping me, JD McDonough, Dominic Mysterio, and Liv Morgan came out on top, and the Terror Twins lay lifeless on the ground.
Good.
That's the way it should be.
Yes.
For now.
Yes.
That's the way it should be for now. We all know it's not going to end up that way. Everybody knows who's going to come out on top when this is all said and done. Priest and Ripley.
But are they going to have to get help, though? Do you think somebody's coming that we don't know of yet?
Edge. He's coming back.
Besides Edge.
The faction he started. Yeah, R-Truth.
Anyways, all right.
I mean, yes, I think they have to get some help or some stipulation that allows for one-on-one, and they just disregard the other members. Like, oh, if anyone from the Judgment Day interferes, it's a loss, and Ripley gets the title, something along those lines. I don't know.
You think they get Ray?
See, I thought that Ray could come out this week. I think they're done with that. But whenever I say that, they reignite it. So you never know. They could get Ray. I don't think it's enough. They would need to get like Zelina Vega or somebody too.
Well, isn't she? Well, she's storyline out right now. I don't know if that's like real from a real nagging injury or what. But
yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm sure they have a plan. I just don't know what it is. What I also don't know what they have a plan for is There was a women's triple threat title match for the tag team titles between Damage Control, the champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, versus, let me get this right, Pure Fusion Collective. I don't know if you heard,
I know.
but they are called
I heard
Pure Fusion
I
Collective.
heard that a few weeks ago, and I'm extremely confused. But hey, whatever.
That's awful. That's one of the more awful names I've ever heard. Pure Fusion Collective. What does it mean?
I don't know, but if they start calling themselves PFC, they're going to get sued by that fishing shirt company.
No. It's always and forever Pure Fusion Collective until this whole thing disbands and we forget who they are, because this faction is not going to last very long. But the champions prevailed. I wish the match was a little bit longer, is a little short, especially for a triple threat tag match. A triple threat tag match should be really long because the amount of possibilities for interference are endless.
Yep.
So when there's not interference, you wonder why was it so short? And obviously it's for time, but this match was fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I heard it was pretty good.
It was good. It just, to me, was not long enough.
Oh yeah,
I think
I've got that gripe about a lot of matches.
Yeah, I did not have that gripe about the main event, which was Randy Orton versus Ludwig Kaiser. And this was good. Kaiser's good. There was not interference from Gunther per se, but he did come out and kind of loomed over the entire thing to distract Randy Orton. But he went off on the knee and he was chopping. He was going at the knee. He's a very, 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 very good wrestler. And Ludwig Kaiser, he's going to have some very good matches with Gunther, but I think that the whole purpose of this match was to attack that knee, similar to what they did when Jade Cargill and Bianca lost. Or no, when Jade Cargill lost to, was it Nia Jax? Who did she lose to? She lost to somebody. One of them lost to Bianca lost to somebody in the King of the Ring qualifiers because her knee had been chopped down. And they needed that knee injury for when she lost to justify the loss, to make her look strong. And I think that's what they did with Randy Orton here. They chopped down. His knees are going to be weak. If I had to guess, they'll probably go at his knees a little bit more on the go home Raw. But it was a good match. You should go back and watch it if you haven't already seen it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to.
Yeah, but it was very good.
Good.
Randy won the match, got an RKO, beat Kaiser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he still won the match.
I thought it was going to be like a DQ or something. Okay.
No, Gunther didn't interfere per se. So, no DQ, RKO for the win. They're not trying to protect Kaiser. They don't care about him. It's Randy Orton. It's Randall Keith. But that ended the show, and I thought it was a good episode of Monday Night Raw. There was some good matches here, 2 very good matches here. I think everything really had a purpose, so I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
I enjoyed this Raw, so you should go back and watch it.
I will. If that Sheamus Pete Dunne match was amazing, so looking forward to seeing the rest of it.
Yeah. But that takes us into Tuesday's programming, which is NXT. They're going all in on Joe Hendry, it seems. They are capitalizing on this. They must have paid buku bucks to TNA to take their top draw right now from them. But good on him. He's I'm still trying to grasp his character. I'm not quite there yet. I think he's fine.
Whenever I see that little goofy thing, I just start laughing, dude. It does its job.
Say his name and he appears.
I just like his entrance. He comes in and does it.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is he just an entrance, or do people actually enjoy him? That's what I still don't know yet. And I want to form my own opinion. I don't want to take somebody else's. And I'm not sure yet. I can see that he can wrestle. I see that he's talented. But if he had AJ Styles' new theme song, would anybody care about him? That's what I need to try to figure out. I don't know. Maybe. But we'll get to him in a second, because the show did not lead off with him. It led off with Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Duke Hudson and Riley Osborne. And Wade, I believe that you indicated that you had not seen
No, I've not seen any.
You have not seen NXT yet.
And I don't know any of the results or any of the matches.
Yeah. So this started off with Axman Fraser versus two members of Chase.
Wait, real quick, just because I'm unsure. Are they doing Freebird rules for the title, or was this a title match? Because remember, Miss Andre Chase and Ridge Holland won the titles, or was this just?
So no, this was not a title match. This was to get a title opportunity. So if they won, then they will get a title match later on.
So I guess there's no more automatic rematch for the lose anymore.
I guess not. I guess not. You got to fight for it. But they did end up getting the win. So they did beat the champions, and they have earned I believe, a title match at No Mercy, which is the next PLE for NXT.
Yes, I think so. That's where's that one?
No clue.
Why am I thinking Denver? Did I just make that up?
No, that's right. It's in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Denver, but it's in Colorado. So
Fraser and Axiom got a title rematch against Andre Chase and Ridge Holland. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So they fought the other two members of Chase U to get a shot at Ridge and Andre.
How'd Riley Osborne look? I mean, Duke Hudson's great.
He looked good. They both look good.
Okay, good.
I enjoyed this match. I thought that everybody held their own, so it was a good match. I think that they are going to use the match in Colorado as an opportunity to finally disband Axiom and Fraser. I mean, they've been some dissension now for a little bit. It doesn't even seem like real dissension because the acting's so bad. But
or is it going to start Riley Osborne and Duke Hudson turning on Andre Chase and Ridge Holland?
I think it's more likely Axiom and Fraser only for right now, because I'm really not seeing the dissension anymore between Chase U, and they seem like a pretty tight-knit group right now, and they seem pretty happy with Ridge Holland. And I know it's not going to last forever, because if it did, then the entire storyline for the past 3 months didn't really make much sense. But right now, I think that they're in a good place. I don't think they're just going to stop that in a week. Maybe. I don't know. They've done stupider. You never know. But it was a good match.
Leaves room to question, and I like that. So
yeah. But next up was Lola Vice and Wendy Chu. Not really going to touch on this too much. Wendy Chu's character is weird.
I was actually curious to see who they had win this match.
Chu.
Okay. Did she choke her out?
It was a pinfall. It was a pin.
I thought Wendy Chu's finisher was choking him out, like a rear naked choke.
That's not what happened. It may be, but it was a pinfall.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And they actually gave this match time, which you don't always get, especially for competitors like these two. But Wendy Chu's gimmick it's just weird to me. It's weird. I get it.
How was it in the ring?
It was good. It was decent.
Okay.
It was decent. It wasn't a 5-star match, but it wasn't a 1-star match. 2.5, 3 stars. If I'm giving it a star rating, it was decent. Middle of the pack. If you don't see it, you're not missing much. But it was fine. It was fine. But a lot of women's wrestling on this edition of NXT, because then we got a gauntlet match, which had Ren Sinclair, Sol Ruca, Adriana Rizzo, Kendall Gray, Brinley Reese, and Jada Parker. It originally had Carmen Petrovich, but she got taken out backstage by someone who now I can't remember. So she was removed from the match.
So I guess she's hurt in real life?
Probably,
maybe.
if I had to guess. If
maybe they, I mean, if she wasn't going to win anyways, it just furthered another story. But who knows?
Yeah. This was not very good.
Tell me Jada won.
Jada won.
Okay, good.
She won. This is not very good. First of all, before the match, I can already see a problem they have in NXT. So they had a bunch of people back there, and it was like 10 women on the roster, and they all looked exactly the same. It was 10 blonde white women, and it was ridiculous how similar all of them looked. And that's a problem. You can't have the same look over and over again. For people who don't know, there's a reason why Rhea Ripley looks the way that she does now, because of Charlotte Flair. And she said this, the reason why she changed her look, the reason why she's not blonde, the reason why she's got the darker hair now is because she didn't want to come from the main roster and get lost in the shuffle and look, because she had a similar look to Charlotte Flair. There are so many blonde white women that you can't all look that way, because you're never going to stand out. No one's ever going to care about you unless you're different. You got to be different in some way. You can't just be generic. And it was just one after the other, and they all look the same. And it was weird to see how eerily similar a lot of these women look when they're all standing next to each other, and how they're not different at all.
That's racist.
And obviously, it is. I mean, obviously they're different, but they're not. They're not. It's
different, but same.
Exactly. It was just weird to see, and I just see a problem in the future. You cannot push all these women. You just can't. They're not all going to be successful because they are just too similar. Start changing them. They were even all wearing similar ring gear. Just start changing. Start adding things to them. Start doing something. But you start changing people's hair. Get a redhead in there or something. Get someone green hair. I don't care. But you got to change them.
I mean, yeah, especially because I'm thinking, spouting off of my head, 4 or 5 blondes right now, but what I guess if one was separated more than the others, to me right now it'd be Sol Ruka. If not,
she's got wavy hair. They were all like straight haired, and I meant to make it very clear in the last pay-per-view. I said that Sol Ruka needs to keep her hair straight because she looks a lot better that way. I guess if that's what's going to distinguish her from everyone else, fine, keep it wavy. But she could be the one who comes out of this. But she's also got a different look. She just looks different.
Yeah, and that the not your typical wrestling boots. She's got the high top Vans, and then that finisher. That finisher's her.
She gave a good one.
Oh, she did.
Gave a good one in this. She gave a soul snatcher. Okay, let me try to set this up. So somebody was penning someone, and I don't remember who. I'm not even going to pretend. Someone was penning someone, and they were like penning them like the Undertaker with like their head up and like kind of like this. And she came and gave us a soul snatcher from the top rope while the person was pinning to break up the pin, and it was perfect. It was good. It was a good soul snatcher. Okay. So I enjoyed that spot. But yeah, she's different. She looks different. A lot of these other girls, like the Brindley Reeses of the world, no, but like the Brindley Reeses and like the Kendall Gray was her name, maybe.
Yeah, that's the one with no quarter catch crew now, right? Kendall Gray?
No quarter catch crew is Ren Sinclair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but people are going to get lost.
Wait a second. I think isn't Kendall Gray the one that manhandled the members of No Quarter Catch Crew like with ease a couple weeks ago?
I don't remember.
Okay, because if it was, yeah, they may have something there at some point with her. If that's the one I'm thinking of, but I think it may have been her.
Yeah,
but
well, that gave Jada Parker the win, so that means that
she hit that hypnotic. Did she do it?
She did, and the problem is that she has a move called the hypnotic. So she's going to be fighting Roxanne Perez at No Mercy. So good on her,
dude. They gotta. I wonder if they're going to continue their trend of not listening to the NXT faithful. That crowd wanted Blair Davenport to win against Roxanne, and Jada's over. And are they going to finally pull the trigger on this and take it off of Perez or not?
I think they will. I miss the old days, though, when someone lost their title. That meant they were going up to the main roster. I miss those days. Because I think Roxanne Perez could go, just like I think Obafemi could go when he loses his title. And I think that Ethan Page could go when he loses his title. I think that those 3 champions are ready for the main roster. Or at the very least, I don't think that NXT can provide them with anything anymore.
I'm trying to think, because when... Is it next week they're moving to the CW?
Yeah, isn't Netflix 2 weeks? Netflix is in September.
No. SmackDown's moving to USA.
Right, but I'm saying Raw is going to Netflix in 2 weeks.
No. Raw's not going to Netflix until January.
Oh, I thought that was September. You sure?
I'm almost
Maybe
positive.
You're right.
But
maybe you're right.
Let's see.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
January 2025. All right. Yeah, I think and then I guess it was whatever going to the CW because they did advertise that on Raw.
Yeah, it's the first week of it's in Chicago, and Punk's going to be there, and then the second week is in St. Louis, and Orton's going to be there.
Yeah.
Okay. It'll be interesting, man, because they've already. I was just timing wise a little bit was kind of surprised that they had the Heritage Cup change and the tag team titles change on just a regular show.
Well, the Heritage Cup changed for what happens next on the show because the No Quarter Catch crew came out with Charlie Dempsey holding his newly crowned, what are they calling it?
The Heritage
Cup. And then Obafemi came down, and then the Don came down and attacked Obafemi.
What? Okay.
Yeah, so, and that set up, they announced that the Don, he had to get rid of it. He had to get rid of his
the seeds were definitely
Heritage Cup
planted for that with the backstage stuff.
He is fighting Obafemi for the title at No Mercy. So that was officially announced. So that's why they had to get that cup off his hands so that the Don can have something new over his shoulder because it's time to bring Obafemi up so that he can now be in a faction with Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Odyssey Jones, and Obafemi. Yes, that's what we need.
I hope not. God, I hope
it's
not.
happening. It's happening. All kidding aside, I think that's time. It's time to call Obafemi up if they have something for him. And they should find something for him because he's good. Give him the U.S. title and give it to him quick. Let him have that title.
I will just say this. Typically in NXT, they'll have the ones they call up have a run with the main title. I think this is a good opportunity for just to start laying the groundwork. Like Obafemi loses the North American title, and then at some point, man, but that may be too long because you got to think at some point they're going to have Trick get the title back from All Ego.
Trick's been demoted. He's a lower card member now. I mean,
just the storyline they're telling, though, is like him working his way back up from that setback. And I think, the way they've been doing it from what I've seen is that they're going in that direction.
Yeah.
But man, that to me is a little too long to make Obafemi wait to get a title shot while that plays itself out. So, man, but that means, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Obafemi could go to the main roster now. But, yeah, I hope they just don't feed the Don to him, though. We'll see. I guess we'll see.
We will see.
I'm looking forward to that, man, because the Don winning would be believable.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. He's good.
God, that's going to be good. I can't wait for that. You think that opens the show? Or do you think the tag team match does? It's going to be one of those two.
I think Oba opens the show. Yeah, I think they put the tag in the middle and they end with what we'll talk about in a few minutes because there's some things that we need to talk about matches that we're skipping. But there was Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson win against Hank and Tank.
I forgot
Hank and Tank got the win.
Okay.
This is actually a pretty good match. Hank and Tank are actually pretty talented. That being said, they need to get a little bit more talented for us to go in depth about them on this show. And then there was also Ashanti the Adonis versus Dion Lennox, and the Adonis got the win, and this was a disaster. So we're also not going to talk about that.
Because of who? Dion Lennox? Because he's new, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It was mainly him. I'm not going to
okay.
blame Ashanti the Adonis, but he definitely didn't get the best out of Dion Lennox. I'll say that. But it was mainly Lennox. He's not
Just not ready yet.
not ready yet. But that's what NXT is for. That is what NXT is for. But there was a backstage segment. I did not realize that Lash Legend is a former WNBA player. I will say that. I found that out today, or when I watched this. She played for the Seattle Storm.
Oh,
Not a lot. She was a Division I basketball player at a high-level program. I've already forgotten which school it was.
sure.
I looked it up.
I'm sure it was Texas.
Huh?
Sure, it was Texas.
I'm sure it wasn't. But yeah, she played college basketball at Texas A&M, and then she transferred to Mississippi State,
Okay.
and then she was selected in the second round of the 2019 WNBA draft.
Surprised I didn't know she played at State.
She was first team All SEC. She was an honorable mention All American, and she was also SEC All Freshman team. So she actually had a pretty illustrious college basketball career. She's from Atlanta, Georgia. So I just thought that I would mention that. There was a backstage segment where she said that she's a former WNBA player. She only played 3 games, didn't really put up any stats, but she's one of the few people in the world who can say she played in the W. So good on her, and I just wanted to mention that before we got to the main event, which featured Pete Dunne, Wesley, and Joe Hendry.
This sounds like it would be good.
This was a number 1 contenders match. The winner gets All Ego at No Mercy, and this was excellent. This was a very good match. Still don't like Wesley's stupid face, but this was a good match because, again, I've said numerous times that I think he's good in the ring. I just don't like anything else about him. And Pete Dunne, again, going out there and just putting on another banger. So, in my opinion, he had 2 A matches in back-to-back days because this was an A match.
Sure, that does not go unnoticed either.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't either. I'm sure it doesn't. But there was interference in this match. A little bit of interference from, since you don't know.
Don't tell me.
Trick Williams.
Oh, I thought you were
Trick
going to say
Williams.
Gallus.
No, they literally had that one episode when they were in every segment, and they just this is stupid, and they abandoned it. Thank you for doing that, WWE. Thank you for listening to the fans. But no, Trick Williams came out, and he had a little bit of an assist, and which allowed Joe Hendry to get the win. So good on him, and wonder how that's going to play out here in the future. But we're going to get Joe Hendry versus all.
Place is going to go nuts.
It is. The question is, do they let Joe Hendry win?
No.
What say you?
No.
Of course not. Well, not of course not. But Noah's right. Unless his contract has been fully bought out.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Unless something has changed with his current contract. If it has,
he's out there a lot now. I mean, he's been out there a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if something has changed with his contract, the amount that he's been on WWE. But I also don't know if he's been on TNA because I don't watch TNA. And I haven't heard anything about that. But you need to go back and watch this match. I thought it was very good. Pete Dunne shined. Everyone else held their weight. In my opinion, Pete Dunne was the A+ player. But everyone else is fine. Everybody else is fine. All Ego was on commentary during this match, which, as you know, also phenomenal because All Ego is a main event ready star. Just call him up. He doesn't need to be here anymore. Show's over. Nothing else to see.
Did he still have his old microphone thing now? Did you? I saw that a couple weeks ago.
I did catch that. I didn't notice if he had it during this episode though.
I think he should have a microphone stand that has him doing like the smile and doing the point like as the holder for the microphone.
That would be good. After the match, there was not interference, but Wesley was attacked by one of the Rascals.
Oh, nice. Okay. So they didn't
Henry,
just forget that.
Not Hendry. Not
Gallus.
No. What is the name of the Rascals? I don't know either of their names.
I can't remember either.
Whatever. One of them attacked him. The one that he's feuding with came out.
Okay, so
Gave
the
him a little
one
bit
he
of a
used to
beating.
be, what was it, MSK in NXT?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. He attacked him, so I'm sure they'll have a match at No Mercy if that wasn't already announced. But the show went off the air right after that
I will say this, like
last attack.
two guys like that, though, man, that would be, because I think we can both agree that's not going to open No Mercy. But that's a good one. Like, if the crowd's kind of dying down a little bit, two guys like that doing what they do will get that place right up and running again.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be,
Yeah.
so that probably be a good middle of the card just to revitalize the crowd. Because sometimes, it gets a little stagnant. But
Yeah.
that's just kind of natural when got that many matches going on. So
Yeah.
good. Did you catch? I know it's from the week before, but what I sent you about Booker T claiming that Charlie Dempsey didn't hear the bell? Man, he's awesome.
King Booker. Yeah, I agree with him.
Him and Vic Joseph, I love them, man. Those two.
Oh, they're good.
Those two are
They're
really
good.
good.
They're a good team. They're a good team.
Dude, you know what I hope? And I know he's been on some independent stuff recently. I hope they put JBL with Michael Cole for a few months.
Oh, while Pat McAfee's out? They're not going to do that. I do wonder who they're going to replace him with, though.
I thought you've got that guy at your disposal. Why not? Why say it at their disposal? Like I said, he showed up. I don't know if you saw this. He, at an indie show, walked out with Dolph Ziggler, but then Alberto Del Rio beat Ziggler, and then, like, JBL was shaking Del Rio's hand in the ring afterwards.
Does he know he's Mexican?
Yes.
What's he doing shaking his hand?
Dude, but it was phenomenal. You got to see the picture of it, dude. It was JBL was in the ring, like, with the cowboy hat, and he had like a full duster.
Oh, I gotta look that up. Love me some JBL. Love me some JBL. That's a great way to end this episode. Episode 40 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. If you like what you heard, go ahead, like and subscribe, hit that bell icon, and we'll see you at the next episode of the Golden Squeeze podcast. Let's see if I remember how to do this.
You definitely did not forget.